Hey, in this video, we're going to talk about the 15% dump on Bitmex yesterday for the Bitcoin chart, and we'll also talk about just how far we think Bitcoin could go down, so keep watching. Welcome to BlockRoots. On behalf of my co-founder, Kenner and Clark, we just want to say welcome, and if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure to do so below. Just hit the red button because each and every week we give away $100 in Bitcoin to one subscriber who engages in the comments below. So make sure to leave a comment because we like to read every single one of those, and sometimes you'll notice a little heart beside your comment because we're reading it, we do like it, and again, we want to hear your thoughts. So make sure to do that. Now in today's video, we want to talk about this 15% pullback for Bitcoin that happened on the Bitmex chart. We also want to talk about our thoughts and what we think is going to happen with price. Now on this channel, we primarily use technical analysis. And so we like to use a non-sensational approach. And so if you're into that, if you're into practical analysis that's going to help you with the markets, we try to make it simple. Let's go ahead and get into the market. And as always, nothing is financial advice. So for Bitcoin, here you go. Here's the image that I screenshotted during the 15% pullback, that candle on Bitmex, totally devastating to the bulls out of nowhere, price drops, and it wicked all the way down to around $8,600 on Bitmex. Now on other exchanges, I'm going to look at Bitstamp right here. You're going to notice that it only wicked down to as far down as 91.38. It bounced there. So it was around an 8 to 9% candle pullback compared to 15% on Bitmex, which goes to show you if you're into the Darth Maul up and down wicks that stop you out of your trades on Bitmex, then you're probably going to still be willing to trade on Bitmex, but most people are no longer willing to deal with the shenanigans. So you see a lot of people switching over to FTX, you see a lot of people switching to Bybit, you see a lot of people just still buying spot on Coinbase because that's what spot holders do. They buy spot and they hold it. But for Kenner and Clark and I, as always, as you know, we partner with Phemex.trade. And so make sure to check out Phemex.trade because they not only have a derivatives leverage trading platform, they also have a spot trading platform with zero fees and just a monthly membership for the spot, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, or Link. So if you're into leverage trading and you're finished with the shenanigans over at Bitmex, check out Phemex.trade. It does have 300,000 transactions per second, so the fastest trading engine out there. It is our favorite, and a lot of people are moving over to it, so make sure to check it out. And you can support the channel by going to our link below. But with the Bitcoin chart, it has dropped back down. The price has dropped down to 8,600 here on Bitmex and has bounced yet back up to 9,600 and is ranging between 94 to 9,600 currently. So the big question is, was this the local top, right? Is this a reversal? Well, certainly it could be. Now, as we previously talked about in another video and on Twitter, I talked about the compression of the price movement. Now, if I go ahead and draw it out right here, you're going to notice that price was compressing in a triangle, and of course it broke to the upside. Now, many times though, what you're going to see in a lot of these patterns on Bitcoin, as I always talk about, Bitcoin is a liquid asset, meaning that it can be easily pushed around by big players. What you're going to notice that a lot of these compressions, they end up going up or down, and then they end up faking people out. And such as this one, it goes to the upside and back down. Now, doesn't mean that it can't continue to grind on back up to where it was before. It's just to show you that primarily this market, when it comes to trading, is a liquidation game. Point is for bigger players to try to take smaller fish's money. So this could totally be a fake out when it comes to the overall trend. Now, if we look at the daily chart on the line, I'll go ahead and draw this out. Now, I've done this before. And last time I showed you guys the overall trend line here on the daily chart from back in 2017, the all-time high. You're going to notice that it touches 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it does break up slightly above that for a fake out, and it's down back below the overall trend line. Now again, trend lines are meant to be broken. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Does that mean that this is bearish, or is this just a fake out of a fake out, meaning that it just grinds on back up? Now, from a technical perspective, the key area is still to break 10,400 on the weekly chart. And so we'll go ahead and look at that. If I put a horizontal line right here at above 10,400, you're going to notice that this is where market structure broke down. Price wicked above it, price wicked above it, price wicked above it. So this is definitely the line that we want to see price go up, break above it, hold it as support, and then see price continue to run on up to 13K, the next important levels as far as the weekly chart on Bitcoin. Now, surprisingly, I even talked about this prior to the dump on Bitcoin, which some people took this as a bullish tweet, but it was certainly more of a bearish perspective. As I said, for me to feel flat out bullish for the en route to new highs, we want to see weekly closes above 10,400, right? From there, we would want to knock out 11,500, then 13K, 16K, then 19K. And I think a lot of people thought that this was bullish because I drew a line, but this is just showing you what I want to see. And I said, until then, this is just another lower high. And so from that perspective, we've continued to make lower highs, meaning that the trend is still down overall in the big picture. And this is what I want to continue to see. If price can't get back up and break above 10,400, I'd like to see it on the daily, but specifically on the weekly, I'm going to continue to probably lean towards a more bearish bias, meaning that price should certainly go back down in the short term. But until then, the key support is actually located right here around 8,500 on the daily chart. And so this is the area where we see, of course, Bitcoin bounced right above on the Bitmex chart. And this is a price that has been holding this key structure since over in late April. So if this does break down, I mean, certainly we're going to think that price is going to make its way back down to at least the high 7,000. So this is a range that we're currently looking at, 10,400 above, at least 10,000 to break that. We'll get more into detail about that in a second. But no, we're not looking down here at 3Ks and 4Ks like some people, because that's just pointless. And I hate to say it, but whenever people talk about 3K and 4K now, while price is at 9,500, that's just pure speculation, and it's really pointless to talk about. So personally, on a tweet today, I even said that I'd like to selfishly see Bitcoin price hit around 7Ks, which if you haven't checked out Twitter yet, you're going to notice that even CZ had an opinion on that as well. That's like the president cutting taxes so that he can save money to buy a sofa, whatever that means. But if price does make its way back below 8,500 and makes its way back down to around 78,000, 8,000, where we actually see the 100 and 200-day moving averages right there, that could certainly be a place that price goes back down and tests before another potential bounce. Now, speaking of moving averages on the weekly chart, we can see that price is currently still sitting above the 50-period moving average, and then, of course, the 20-period moving average is right below that. Now, if you look at history, too, the yellow line here, which is the 20-period, the moving average on the weekly chart, each time that price did dip below that, we noticed that it ended up not only going below the 50, which is the green, but it also went underneath the 100, the blue, okay? And then you're going to see that again. It bounced off the 100, which is the blue, eventually underneath it. And then yet again, it broke the 20-period moving average as well back in March, and it did break below both before bouncing. Now, if price does make its way back down there, which is around low 8,000s, I certainly think another reason why we could see price move back down and at least retest this 100-period average on the weekly chart at around 71.85. So if price does break below this 8,500 area right here, you're going to notice that the market structure shows that the next likely place for price to go is down here around 77.55, which again acted as support and resistance quite a bit before this big move up. Now, if price breaks below that, I'm going to look down here to where, again, this has held as support resistance for a long time. And you notice that this is an area around 6,800, which is probably the lowest that I'm willing to look right now as far as the Bitcoin price. Anything less than that is going to be sensational. But as far as market structure goes, these are the areas that I'm looking at. 8,500 to around 77, 7,800, and from there, 6,800 is probably the lowest that I'm willing to go. And then you may be asking short term, what's your play? Well, my play is thinking that, again, this could be a potential reversal. And until Bitcoin can break back above 10,000, I'm actually looking to short sell the price down. If I go ahead and show you, these are the areas that I'm watching right now. My first area to watch is up here around 9,800. Okay, if you see the market structure up here as far as resistance, this should be from 9,800 all the way up to around 9,867 or so is a potential area for me to short at. And if price continues to kind of move on up from there, I would look to continue to add on shorts close to 10,000, probably no higher than $10,010 or so, $10,000.15. And of course, if price breaks it from there, I have my stop loss in place. And, as always, you can always be spot long with your Bitcoin holdings, which is a good thing. But I do believe that price, if it does make its way back up here, that it could reject off these areas for at least a short-term trade. Now, another reason why I think that this could be potentially bearish in a reversal is if you look at the volume on really any exchange, whether it's Coinbase, Bitstamp, or Bitmex, you're going to notice how little volume we had when it comes to the overall green candle right here. You're going to notice that volume continued to trend downwards, right? And then from that, we had a lot more volume when it comes to this red candle down, which if you don't know about volume and price, of course, as price continues to grind up or go up, if you see price go up but volume go down, that's typically a bearish sign. And the reaction of that, of course, was a nice big sell-off here as far as the price. And so that is another reason, well, again, you want to look at volume when it comes to these prices. If you do see a big pump with very little volume, that could be a clue that price is going to dump again soon. Not always, but typically that's the case. So you definitely want to keep these things in mind. So an overview, yes, it's very possible that this is a trend reversal. Again, we've got lower highs on the overall trend, a real lack of volume here. And as far as that goes, we're really watching 9,800 to 10,000 as the areas that we want to break. Now, on a weekly perspective, we want to see 10,400 break. If it can break above that, continue on up, then yeah, that's certainly going to be a bullish sign. I like to trade it either way. I don't like to get too biased when it comes to that. I'm currently looking to short above in these two areas, as I said earlier. And if Bitcoin does break below this area at 8,500, I'm going to be looking potentially at first for it to head down here around 7,800 or so, and then 74 to 72, no lower than 6,800. And that's really what we're looking at on the market here as far as level by level perspective here at BlockRoots. Now, as always, if you find the content valuable, would love to have you as a subscriber. Go ahead, click the red button below. That would get you to subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications from us. And by the way, if you subscribe and leave a comment, as we said earlier in the video, you're up for the running and the giveaway of $100 in Bitcoin that we give away each and every week, which we're going to do again here in the next few videos, probably by this weekend. So make sure that you leave a comment below. And with that said, I hope you guys stay safe. Hope you have a good plan in mind. And as far as this goes, Bitcoin has great things ahead. So, long term, we're bullish. So again, stay encouraged, guys. Hope everybody is healthy and make sure to trade effectively. And we'll see you guys soon.